Greetings, GameCola faithful, and welcome to the GameCola Podcast. This is podcast number 132, definitely not feeling blue, and I'm your host and podcast commander, Joseph Martin.
Hi, I'm Bryniarski. I write for GameCola sometimes.
I'm Alex Jedraszczak, and I am the editor-in-chief of a website you may have heard of, GameCola.net.
I'm John Rizzi. I make videos for GameCola sometimes.
I watch the Discord people talk, like, one by one as they go down, and then it gets to me, and I'm like, I already said my thing, though. I can't also say, hi, I'm Joseph Martin again. I don't get to do a normal introduction like you guys do, and it makes me sad.
And you say your next thing.
Well, I could say my next thing. You want to know what my next thing is?
What is it, Joe?
It's Super Mario Maker, and the things that people are upset about it.
Yeah.
Wait, people are upset? I thought everyone was happy about it.
They were at first.
Yeah.
I guess we haven't talked about the 15-minute sort of thing that came out a while back. So Super Mario Maker 2, coming out, Nintendo Switch. It's coming out at the end of June, something like June 23rd. And there was a direct, and it showed all this cool stuff. They've got 5 different course themes. If you play the original Mario Maker, you could use it to build levels, and you could do it in like NES Mario, Mario World, Mario 3, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii. They've added 3D World, which I didn't realize this at first, that 3D World is a separate thing from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which is also still included in Mario Maker 2. And there's a bunch of item course elements that are exclusive to the 3D World. And there's also the implication that they may add more themes because there's a lot of blank space around the 3D World one. So we'll have to look at that.
What could those possibly be?
But what people are talking about these days is the fact that Nintendo has done the internet bad again. Wonk wonk. In Mario Maker 2, you can play multiplayer levels up to 4 people, sort of like New Super Mario Bros. And New Super Mario Bros. Wii. The problem is that if you want to do it on the internet, you could only play it with random strangers on the internet. And the reason that they gave in the Nintendo Life article that I read, which was, the source from this is a Nintendo Life article, and I think some other people have, confirmed it. At first it was a little tenuous, but it seems to be these statements are coming from Nintendo Treehouse representatives. And the thing that they are giving as a reason for this is that it will affect the online leaderboards. Because if you do well in the competitive, there's competitive versus levels in Mario Maker 2, and then there's cooperative versus levels, and the competitive ones have a leaderboard. So if you win a bunch, you get points on a leaderboard. So they're saying you can't play with friends because then it'll mess up the leaderboard. Obviously, this is a bold-faced lie.
Yeah.
Because if you played any fighting game or any online game recently, you can just open a separate room with just your friends and have it not be on the leaderboards at all.
Yep. So, I mean, the reason, of course, would just be that they don't want to pay to do it. I imagine. I don't know if it's specifically because I could see maybe it just is, regular expensive, and they're just like, we're just not going to do it and not spend the money on it. It could also be that they set their infrastructure up very poorly, and so they, for a normal company, this would be, more expensive, but not much more expensive. For us, we did a very bad job, and so it would be very expensive for us to implement it, which is why which I think might be the case, because there's a huge focus from Nintendo, it seems like, on playing exclusively with random strangers, right? You think about Tetris 99. That's the whole premise of Tetris 99.
Yeah.
See, I would say that it's because Switch owners don't have friends, but I feel like that's more applicable to Xbox. But I'm
throwing shade, Jay.
Well, the Switch itself encourages you to play with random strangers because you could take it to go anywhere. If you see any of the commercials, you see any random strangers being like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
Oh, hey, random stranger I just met on the bus. Let's play.
Yeah.
Tetris 99 together.
Let's play Mario. Let's play Mario Kart while standing on a moving bus.
Yeah.
Like normal people do. That thing that normal people do, play video games standing up in a moving vehicle. I do that all the time.
Just make sure not to become friends after this.
Yes. Oh, that's expressly forbidden. So I think that I don't want to harp on it too much because I think everybody's sort of given their 2 cents on this. It's possible Mario Maker. A lot of things that people are saying is that Mario Maker received a lot of updates, the first one, over the course of its life, and so it's probably the case that Mario Maker 2 is going to have updates in its life cycle where features could be added. I mean, because you could say that about any game, but like you think about if they were already going to update it for something, it's easier to slide in other bells and whistles as opposed to a game that you're not going to update except for maybe one thing.
Yeah, and this is not like another entire mode entirely. It's just like I said entirely 3 times in that sentence. But it seems like a really easy thing to patch in, to be perfectly honest.
You would think, but it's Nintendo, so maybe they messed it up. The other thing that's weird is that I just saw this other article that says, also from Nintendo representatives, that they're not doing amiibo support for it, at least at launch, because in the original Mario Maker, you could put the amiibos and it would let you add like little sprites of different characters from different games from a question mark mushroom, and that's just not in the game at launch. And maybe not ever. It doesn't say that they're going to add it, but people are like, they could add it. Because a lot of the amiibo were added over the course of the game's lifespan. But it's weird that it's not even coming with any support at the very beginning.
Also, to be fair, Mario Maker 1, you didn't need the amiibo to unlock those skins.
Right.
You can just, like, encounter them online, then you have them forever.
Right. But this seemed like, again, it's easy to say, well, it would be really easy for them to just add this. This is, like, in the old game. So, which I'm pretty sure this is, like, based on. I'm pretty sure they built it from the same way. I don't know. This seems like something that they explicitly removed. I feel like copying something from your old game would be just as easy. I don't know. Maybe they've got a different idea of how they're going to do it. That just seems weird. Anyway, that's enough Mario Maker 2. Now we have to talk about the other elephant in the room. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Yes.
How's your sleep schedule been in recent times?
Very nice.
You know what's funny? I slept through this announcement.
You slept? I didn't sleep very well last night. I had a dream that I was swimming in a lake with my family, and I was convinced within the dream that the lake was filled with alligators and snakes. There weren't any while I was swimming, but I was swimming and I would keep seeing things that I thought were alligators, and then my mom and my brother who were swimming with me were like, no, that's just a log. Stop being such a scaredy cat. And I'm like, I see alligators everywhere, and then they turn out not to be alligators. And then I got out of the lake, and there was a giant snake.
So it was actually out of the lake where was all the snakes and alligators?
No, I could only see them when I was out of the lake.
Oh.
When I got out of the lake, then I could see all the snakes and alligators that I couldn't see because I was just at the surface of the water.
Oh, okay.
It was very scary. Pokemon has a solution to this, apparently.
What a segue.
Pokemon had a press conference a couple days ago, and they announced a couple of things. Some of it was like new Pokemon Center locations, Pokemon Store locations, one in Singapore. They talked a little bit about expanding more deliberately into the Chinese market. And, but they did have 2 game-specific ones. They're going to talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield later in June. But the first one that they talked about was called Pokemon Sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the tagline, the pitch, the logline of this game is that it's going to turn sleep into entertainment.
Wow. I've never had an entertaining experience while I was asleep before.
Never? Like, I'm all for goofing, but, like, I've had some pretty fun dreams. Not the one that I just described, but...
Yes, this was sarcasm.
Okay. So you take a fancy pedometer, which the original pedometer was called Pokemon Plus, or Pokeball Plus, and this is the Pokeball Plus Plus, which is spelled... I don't remember the order, but like one of the pluses is the word plus, and one of the pluses is the symbol. But it's still called the Pokeball Plus Plus. And you put it on your pillow, and it tells that you're asleep, and it does things in the video game because of it. Probably related to Pokemon Go in some capacity, because they were making a lot of comparisons about how Pokemon Go made walking entertainment.
What?
I thought you were. I didn't know. I don't know anything about this announcement, so I thought you were about to tell me that they're gonna have this game read your dreams, and depending on the activity of your dreams, it determines how well you're doing in the game.
Here's the thing. They pitch it as like this thing of like using gaming to help people get into good sleep habits.
Doesn't make
and that's
sense.
it certainly sounds noble, right? The idea that if you get a good amount of sleep, you get a reward in the video game. It sounds noble. The actual thing that they're trying to do, obviously, is make Pokemon be the first thing you think about when you wake up and the last thing you think about when you go to bed. Therefore, entangling the brand into your life at a fundamental level.
Some cult.
Isn't it though? Like, did anything I just say sound wrong?
Everything sounded wrong.
But like, sorry, did it sound incorrect?
Oh, invalid to what they were advertising?
I'm just saying, yeah, like I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. Like, not in it's like not a fantastic way to look at it, but like, it is what you, like, it's the first thing that you think about when you wake up. Keep the brand incorporated in your life. They're trying to make it a lifestyle brand.
I have Facebook for that.
Yeah, Twitter.
I'm not saying that they're going to do a good job. I'm just saying that that's what their plan is. But, okay, here's the main thing. Like, they can do whatever they want, right? It's fine. You try to make sleep fun. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. The thing is that they want to use the pedometer that has an accelerometer in it to tell when you're asleep.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't think that's possible.
No.
What if I just set it down?
Yeah, like, it's just, like, the implication is like, oh, it can tell that you're rustling in your sleep.
What?
But as opposed to being put, I guess, because they say specifically to put it on your pillow and not your bedside table. So I don't understand that. Because I'm pretty sure to actually monitor your sleep, you need like a heartbeat measuring thing. Right? I think.
Yeah.
I don't think you can just have an accelerometer on your pillow and have it tell when you're asleep.
I'm so confused.
So I don't know what their plan is there. So it sounds very silly. But they're going to go for it, and it'll be fun to watch at the very least. And who knows, right? It's fun to make jokes, but they have a lot of money. And they're paying a lot of people to come up with this, so
they can
maybe someone had a good idea. I don't know.
They can afford to be this stupid.
The other thing that they announced that was interesting was a mobile game called Pokemon Masters, which looked like a kind of scaled down sort of Pokemon game that features just the main characters from different series, like champions, avatars representing the player characters, some notable gym leaders, maybe some of the villains. Stuff like that. That looks interesting enough.
They probably was this after the Pokemon Sleep thing that they announced this? Okay, so it's pretty much saying, so if you haven't lost complete faith in us yet in our ideas, here's something else that's actually competent for you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, they're definitely getting people talking about it. So I don't know. No press is bad press, or
yeah. There's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah, that's the word. I was going to say no press is bad press. It's like, true, but also not what I was going for.
Didn't they also announce Pokemon Home or something like that? I read about that.
Oh, yeah, it's like the sequel to Pokemon Bank.
What?
It's a bank!
What?
You're just making stuff up now.
Wait. Okay, that does sound ridiculous if you didn't know what Pokemon Bank was.
Isn't Pokemon Bank like just the Pokedex?
Pokemon Bank is a way that you could... So, like, the thing about Pokemon is that you can... Usually there are ways for you to trade Pokemon from game to game going forward, right? Ever since Ruby and Sapphire, they've tried to make sure that there's some way for you to get a Pokemon from an older version of the game to a newer version. Mm-hmm. So from 3rd gen to 4th gen and 4th gen, like, across platform, right? One of their solutions to that was like, all right, we're just going to create an online service where you can send your Pokemon to that. And as long as everything can connect to that, then you don't have to worry about all this weird in-game compatibility stuff. Because, like, there was stuff like, I remember with the Game Boy to DS transition, you had to put the Game Boy game in the Game Boy slot of the DS, the DS game in the DS slot, and then go to a specific spot in the game where you could capture 6 Pokemon at a time. And only once per day. So I think it was Pokemon Bank was sort of streamlining that process. Pokemon Home is the new version of that.
Okay.
That is going to have more stuff in it, because Pokemon Bank was literally just like data storage. Basically, you're paying for cloud service storage of your Pokemon. Pokemon Home sounds like it's, you can trade with your mobile phone. That was one of the things. You'd be able to make Pokemon trades with your phone and maybe do some other stuff. But essentially, yes, it is the sequel to Pokemon Bank.
What a time we're living in where even servers are getting sequels now.
Pokemon Apartment Complex.
Pokemon Condos.
I just had a thought that I should have mentioned earlier, or I should have come up with earlier, which is Pokemon Go to Sleep. I don't know how to make a full joke out of that, but...
And that is not the first time I've heard that, actually.
There was one I saw that was Pokemon Go Home and Go to Sleep. That was a good one.
I think the one I saw was like one of those brain expanding memes where it was like Pokemon Go and then in parentheses outside and walk. Pokemon Sleep a full 8 hours. Pokemon Home, please visit your parents.
Pokemon Go Home, you're drunk.
I don't remember what the last one was, but anyway, that's the world of Pokemon, the wonderful world of Pokemon. We'll have more updates once the Sword and Shield Direct come out in a couple days. Probably talk about that a bit.
All right.
John, you also, speaking of other, because like I feel like you mentioned this to me, John, that like you think that Sony, and then I also think Nintendo too, is since they're not doing official E3 presentations anymore, they're just kind of releasing stuff whenever.
Yeah. Instead
of in one big presentation, just sort of scattering it. Because it seems like that's what Sony's doing too, right?
Yes, but overall, yes. Or at least for today, which is really weird because today they just dropped a whole bunch of trailers on their YouTube channel. And I'm not sure if there was like any other streaming announcement or whatnot that came with it. But they released trailers for new gameplay trailers for DayZ, the Attack on Titan sequel, a new trailer for like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. They have a 9-minute long trailer for Death Stranding that reveals a release date to be this November.
Gosh, I saw that trailer and everyone's like, finally, they're telling us what the game's about. And I was like, are they?
Yeah.
I still have no idea what's going on.
A trailer for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice DLC, some VR games, including Five Nights at Freddy's VR, which is what everyone wanted. Battlefield 5 DLC, a remaster of the Ghostbusters game from 2009 that's coming to PS. That's coming out this year.
Okay.
Some other gameplay trailers for games we already know, like Judgment, an indie game called Destiny Connect, Northgard's coming to PS4, and then the big reveal was the reboot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Right.
I'm like, okay. And it looks gritty, and it looks almost like a horror game, oddly enough.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it, and it's like, and also people talking about it, which has been unsettled. It's probably more unsettling to me is how people are talking about it. It's like, you get to see the pain and the struggle, and I'm like, and that's a plus for you?
Yeah.
That would make me very uncomfortable. Granted, I haven't played any of the Call of Duties in any significant capacity, so it's not really my jam in the first place. So
yeah, it seems like this one, the other games are banking on like warfare and just like over the top stuff like being set in the future and all that. This one seems to be riding on emotional weight.
Trying to be grounded and realistic, which I don't know how that will play with the core demographic of the franchise, but we'll see. Any other, so like as someone who owns a PS4, I imagine, you did play that Spider-Man game, and I'm pretty sure you could only do that on the PS Quattro.
Yes.
How do you feel about if this is like Sony's basically E3, this is all our stuff-esque thing? How do you feel about the PlayStation 4 going forward?
This is definitely not all their stuff. This is just like maybe a tease for like the next announcements to come in the next few weeks. Because, like, there's only, like, 2 brand new things here. And, like, maybe, like, one thing to be like, oh, we had no idea about that. Even though there were some leaks. But we didn't know it was going to be a full-on reboot, let alone a complete rehaul of the gameplay from from previous Call of Duties.
And also just naming it the same thing as another game. They really need to stop doing that. Just come up with a new name.
Yeah.
Please.
Call of Duty. We mean it this time.
Even just like Call of Duty Postmodern Warfare. Like, give me something. Just come up with a new name. It's not that hard.
But also
do Mario. If you're tired of naming it things, just go Mario Kart and call it Call of Duty 9.
Speaking of announcements that come out today, Nintendo had some neat announcements. Basically, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is getting an amiibo mode, which is basically you'll be able to send your amiibo online as like an AI fighter, and they'll have its own little leaderboards and compete with other ones. And it's also getting VR mode.
Oh yeah.
If you want to humor this, because it just says VR mode's coming, and they gave no other details about it.
Yeah, what does that mean? Like, what is
it's coming out tonight is the thing. So like,
really?
Yeah.
What?
The update is scheduled for tonight at like midnight.
Why wouldn't you tell people about it ahead of time?
Because that's what they did with the other VR stuff too. With Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, it was just kind of like in the update. Like, they just did an update, but there wasn't really any pomp and circumstance for it. And honestly, the only people who were really talking about it were people who speed ran, who do speed runs of both of those games, because they added some functionality to help to send the Switch into overclocking modes at certain points in the game, and it reduced a lot of load times. I think I talked about that last month. And that's the main thing that people talked about it. And it was for the VR modes, but nobody's really done a whole lot with the VR mode. It's basic, from what I can tell, it's basically like, do you remember a little hidden gem from the past called the 3DS?
No.
I do recall this.
It's basically that, as far as I can tell, giving you depth for the game.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was wondering is, like, do you just get to look around, like, you have the same view of Super Smash Bros. That you normally do, but when you turn your head, you look around. Like, is that it?
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if it's coming
Because I don't imagine they're gonna be having you, like, physically punching and stuff, like doing actual VR things in first person.
That would be great.
I wonder if, like, you could watch replays, but, like, in full thing. So, like, you could walk around your room and see the full thing from every angle.
That'd be cool.
To a certain extent, I guess, because, like, a lot of the stages have a lot of detail built into them, because the camera is pretty free in the like, if you pause the game. But, like, there still isn't anything, like, on the quote-unquote other side, on the fourth wall.
What if I could, what if there's a special VR mode where you play as your me, and it's in first person?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah,
what
like,
if that?
Yeah, well, like, a new challenger appears. It's the me, and you get to play as your me in Super Smash Bros.
But then you try to take the headset off, but there is no headset.
Whoa.
And you live in Smash Brothers now.
Yes!
You are a Smash Brother.
All I've ever wanted.
Whoa.
The fight ends, and you end up, and you get teleported into Smash Mansion, where all the Smash Brothers characters are, and you hang out by the pool.
No!
That was their plan all along.
I wonder if there's anyone who wants to talk about another topic.
Is there? So.
Okay. I can't do the whole segue for it. That wasn't even a softball. I rolled it across the ground to either Jeddy or Anna. And both of you just like stared at it like, what am I supposed to do with this?
So speaking of sequels that are poorly named and confusing in terms of the existing games.
There we go. That's a good segue.
In the last episode of the GameCola Podcast, I discussed Blaster Master Zero, which, as John mentioned before the podcast got started, should be the prequel, right? So that Blaster Master is then, Blaster Master 1, but instead you have Blaster Master Zero, which is Blaster Master 1, and then Blaster Master Zero 2 is the sequel to Blaster Master Zero and unrelated to Blaster Master 2.
It's a split timeline.
Yes. These are alternate universes. As I discussed last time, I was uncertain about what to expect, having really only seen the trailer for Blaster Master Zero 2, and I'm actually really satisfied with Blaster Master Zero 2. They really upped their game. They upped the game. Like, they included a lot of improvements. The first one, it was just kind of like, well, here is the original Blaster Master with most of the original concepts and like kind of some improved graphics and more story, if you can call it that. It was like the most generic, poorly written dialogue.
But that's just this universe. It's from what I recall. In this alternate universe, no one knows how to talk like a normal human person.
Yeah. So on that subject, this new game has a lot more characters. Like, in the original one, you're on this, like, post-apocalyptic Earth where people had been driven underground due to some apocalypse, and then people made their way back to the surface, and they're living there, but then you, the main character, end up going back down into the ruins of this underground, city thing, and discovering that there's mutant aliens and blah 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 and all this stuff. You meet your robot girlfriend and etc. And then, spoiler alert, at the end, you defeat the mutant and Eve, the navigation android for your cool space tank thing that goes underground.
Is Eve different than your robot girlfriend?
She is your robot girlfriend.
She is, okay. I didn't know if there were two robot girlfriends.
No, that's her name.
One of them is a spaceship.
Well, there's the tank, and then the tank is like piloted by the support droid, who is Eve.
Okay.
And at the end, you guys get split up somehow, and she's like, oh...
Man, Wally's a lot different than I remember.
Well, at the very end, after you beat the boss, she's basically like, oh, I have to return to my home planet. And Jason's just kind of like, oh, okay, well, thank you for your help. Goodbye. Thanks for saving the Earth. And then it's revealed in, like, the final moment that she's been infected by the mutants.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
Which, like, sets up Blaster Master Zero 2, where she comes back. For some reason, she's just kind of okay with being infected by space mutants, and the two of you blast off into space together to go find the source of the space mutants. But along the way, you encounter all of the other people who also have their own tanks and their own robot girlfriends. Or, in one case, robot butler boyfriend.
Oh.
Yes. And I have to say, I really like all of the other characters that you meet. The first one, like, it just seems like they weren't that popular in Japan, and so they opted to make the game more about Japanese stuff and boobs.
I remember our discussion of the melon alien.
Yeah, like, there is a plant girl with big melons. And the first other set of characters that you meet, you land on this, like, old-timey Japan planet, and there's this guy who speaks with a heavy accent, and,
Is there actual voice acting?
No, it's all written, but he...
Oh, I see what you mean.
He speaks all southern-like. And, like...
Japanese Southern?
No, but, like, I can get what they're going for, is that he's trying to sound... It's supposed to be a regional dialect in Japan, and they're like, well...
King Dedede and the 4Kids dub of Kirby.
Well, like, I guess they're trying to get across that he speaks kind of different, and it wouldn't sound right to have him speaking ye olde English when he's, like, a weird farmer guy. So they have him speak with, like, a really heavy southern accent, and so does his robot.
That's basically exactly King Dedede in the Kirby 4Kids dub.
Yeah. But yeah, like, the first additional planet that you come across is, like, old-timey Japan planet, and there's this, like, ninja warrior guy who lives in, like, a bamboo forest or something, and you help him and his robot out, and then you go to another planet, and you meet the plant girl with her, like, butler. It's like this old man butler guy who's her support android. Sorry, I'm trying to remember what happens in the game, because...
Yeah, what do you actually do in this video game?
Okay, and that, I will say, is where I've been most excited about this game, is they've really, I don't even know where to begin because they've introduced so many things. Like the actual action is more interesting. They have this like counter move where you can shoot back if something's shooting at you. And with these other characters, like you're fighting this huge mountain boss guy, while in the front of the screen, like in the foreground of the screen, you just have this like car driving around and shooting at him while you're in your normal spot on the screen, like hopping around trying to hop up on this mountain guy and like get to his weak point or whatever. They just introduce all these little fun mechanics, and then like with the plant girl on her planet, you have to do all these like weird little puzzle levels where there's a lot of like jumping around and trying to like trigger an enemy to go do something, and then like that will trigger something else, and then a thing will drop out of a tree or whatever. I'm doing a terrible job at explaining that it is.
It definitely sounds interesting because I've played a little bit of the original Blaster Master from the Nintendo Switch Online NES library.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, it felt very unguided.
Yeah.
Like there was just kind of like stuff, and there wasn't really a rhyme or reason to the level design. It was just kind of stuff around.
Yeah, and
it sounds like it's a lot more intentionally designed.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing is that Blaster Master Zero was basically just the original Blaster Master with some improved graphics and like checkpoints and saves and stuff.
And a robot girlfriend.
Yes, and then Blaster Master Zero 2 is its own game that's introduced all these new cool mechanics and like cool graphics and so on, and like a bunch of new characters that you get to meet. And there's a bad guy. Like you meet all these other pilots who pilot the other tanks, and there's like one guy who he never becomes your friend. He just tries to attack you. And I don't know. I've been very much enjoying this game so far.
So you haven't beaten it yet, though?
Not yet. It's actually a lot longer than...
So maybe that guy does become your friend.
It's true, he could. There's still time. I have a feeling... Like, I guess I thought I was close to the end, and then they introduced this guy, and like I looked just at the length of some Let's Plays, and I'm still maybe like 75% of the way through, so there's still a couple hours left.
Okay. I've definitely played games like that. I think Bowser's Inside Story was one where I kept feeling like I was doing like because like there were certain things where it's like you had to do like 3 things, and every time I'd get like in the middle of the 3rd thing, there'd be a new set of 3 things introduced as a twist.
Yeah.
And it was fine because I was enjoying the game, so I was glad that there was more content. But it just kept feeling like, man, I thought I was almost done, but now there's a whole new 3 things to do. It seems like we've kind of segued into games we've been playing in recent times.
Yes.
So have there been any videos game that you or perhaps someone else in your life has played in recent times? Maybe Anna Bryniarski, potentially?
Hi there. So,
I'm Anna Bryniarski.
Hi, I'm Anna.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
Welcome to my section of the podcast.
Where I say I want to talk about something and Joe lets me for some reason. I want to talk about cats.
Oh.
Because I really like cats, and my roommate was playing an Assassin's Creed game that if you interact with the cat, it'll go around your legs, and you can pet dogs, and I want to use this topic to talk about fun things like that in video games. It's like, they're a fun little thing like that. Things like that.
I think in Legend of Zelda you can like pet dogs and chase their tails and stuff.
Actually, it's funny you mention that because just this week I found a Twitter account that's solely dedicated to this.
I was just going and getting that.
Thank God.
It's literally called "Can You Pet the Dog?" And every day it like posts like a picture from a game or whatnot, and that has the dog in it, and it says Doom 2, no. Or Assassin's Creed, yes.
Yeah.
Just like good old wholesome content like that. And then actually the one from today was actually Doom 2, but it said, but with this mod you can. And then it shows a video and it just shows you going up to the dog and he pets it and like hearts come out and then the dog goes attacks enemies for you.
Good.
In Mega Man, sometimes you can be the dog.
Yeah.
Is there a dog man?
No,
Rush.
There's Rush. Do you not know about Rush?
Yeah, I know about Rush, but do you become...
He turns into a suit of armor.
Oh, right.
And you become Superman through the power of your dog.
Wow.
And then the bad guy also has his own dog, but he's an evil dog, but still a good dog, but an evil good dog.
Was there a Mega Man X dog enemy?
Dog enemy? I think there might.
Well, I mean, like a dog.
But it was a robot.
Master. Like
There wasn't a Rush-esque character, as far as I know.
Well, I'm just saying is like things that you can turn into. Like there was the chameleon and there was the penguin guy and whatever and the octopus man.
There was probably one. Oh, I think there was a hyena in one of them, but nobody liked the hyena. I think it's the one that shouts "burn it to the ground" 1,000,000 times. I don't remember exactly though.
You cannot pet the dogs. I'll holler. You get to serve dog strings. That's the thing that happens. Are video games fun? I think they're pretty great.
Nah.
Only sometimes.
They're overrated.
Oh no. Oh no.
You cannot pet the dog in God of War, and then it's just accompanied by a gif of a wolf attacking you.
Oh.
In God of War, the dog pets you.
So to talk about both a game played in recent times and a game which is not fun, I made the mistake of buying The World Ends With You.
I've heard good things about that.
Which one is that?
It's like a weird Kingdom Hearts ripoff. I mean, it's from the people who made Kingdom Hearts, and I guess they just wanted to have their own game outside of Disney's control.
Oh, I have seen this. Yeah, I've only heard good things about this game. But here's the thing. On Twitter, mostly on Twitter, I don't remember from who specifically, but every single time they do, they say, but I can't tell you anything about this game. Because of the good part is apparently the spoilers.
Okay, maybe, I just hate the characters so much.
I read the description of the main character and...
No, he's a loser and I don't care. I can't care about him at all.
He does have cool headphones, though.
The same kind of issue that I had with the text, with the dialogue in Blaster Master Zero, I have here, where, you could cut out 3/4 of the dialogue if they didn't say things like, wow, would you look at this? Look at what? You don't need to respond with, you don't need to respond with a question to something that somebody just asked you. You don't need to reply, hey, did you hear about this? No, what's that? Well, this is, you could just cut that into one line that says, this is this, instead of having this weird back and forth. Oh, look, they're talking to each other.
The first image on Google Images with text in it, it has the main headphone guy and who I assume to be the main girl, and the conversation is a week of what? The Reaper's game is 7 days long, right?
Help.
Oh boy.
It frustrates me. And also...
Oh my goodness, the next linked one was his blog, everything gets 100,000 hits a day. What kind of blog is that?
It's just, you said a thing, let me repeat it back to you. Oh, well, then I'm going to respond to you repeating the thing. You could cut out 3/4 of the dialogue. Also, the guy's just a complete loser. I don't care about him and his, I don't care about anyone. I lost my memory. No one cares. You're like a child. You're a child that wears headphones. And,
Oh, wow.
And an additional issue that I have with it is that part of the reason that I bought it was because I wanted to try playing a co-op game with my lady friend. And you can only play the co-op version using the individual Joy-Cons, which... This was originally a DS game, so it was made to be played with the stylus, and you can play it in handheld mode on the Switch by touching the screen with your finger. And that plays perfectly fine, I have no issues with it. But playing with the Joy-Cons, it's trying to do hand motion, but unlike the Wii, that has actual tracking of where your hand is physically, it's just using the motion sensor to vaguely kind of assume the direction that you're tilting the controller. And so now there's two of us kind of wildly flailing around attempting to get it to do anything remotely similar to what you want it to do. So when the controls are terrible and the story so far...
It was originally on the DS though, right?
Yeah, well it is. And I mean, I'm just trying to say is if you wanted this type of control, it might have worked on the Wii, but it does not work on the Switch, where, like, it doesn't even have real motion controls. It has gyroscope sensing. It can kind of vaguely tell that you moved the controller, hopefully.
I think the Joy-Cons have the capacity to do Wii-level motion controls, but it's a lot harder to get it to work. Because they can be pretty fancy with that. I've seen some stuff from 1-2 Switch that's, like, surprisingly accurate for what you'd think the Joy-Cons are, but I imagine it's probably not as straightforward as the Wii was.
Yeah, like this, I was not impressed, let's just say. And combined with the fact that the story so far is terrible, I just don't care, and I'm disappointed in my purchase. So anyway, Anna, did you play any other games?
What? No. Never.
This is GameCola.
I played a lot of Sims 4 the last podcast, not because it was free recently, but
yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you already
owned it. I started playing it again because my thing about The Sims 4 is that I like how it looks, and I like playing it sometimes, but like other times, the first Sims game I played a lot was Sims 3, and I really, really liked Sims 3, and the fact that it is not terribly different, but different enough makes me a little on it. But I played that for a solid little while. Played Valhalla a bit, did not finish it yet. Stardew Valley. I recently remembered that Hamtaro had games on the Game Boy.
Yes. Okay, I played those a while back, and they are all amazing.
What did you say you cut out? Did you say awful?
Oh, no. I really enjoyed basically all of the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance games. I was like really playing through them like a year or two ago.
I actually had that game, except I know for a fact it was not mine. I stole it from my cousin.
Well, now your crime is available to everyone on the internet.
Still within the statute of limitations.
It's been...
This was a sting. This was a setup, Anna. We got her.
Finally.
It's been...
Come on out, Anna's cousin. We got her. Anna's cousin walks out with a tape recorder.
He knows I stole it.
We can close GameCola now. This was all for the pure sake of trapping Anna.
Sorry, John.
The walls of GameCola Incorporated fall down as cardboard. There's police cars surrounding what used to be the building.
Yeah, I can retire happily now. I thought I was done with this.
Oh my god, yeah, no, I stole this game, and I couldn't beat it for the longest time, and I finally beat it one day, and I wish I could remember why it took me so long, but I think I was just dumb and a child. I also stole his Pokemon Emerald game, so I just stole
That's an actual crime.
Yeah, it is.
How dare you?
Sorry, Jeddy.
Oh no, I was just gonna say they're like adventure games, right? Like puzzles, kind of?
Yeah, I played Ham's Unite. Like, I did, but I got bored after 2 seconds because I wanted to do something else.
Some of those puzzles, like, I'm a full-grown adult here, for the most part, and they're not quite moon logic.
Yeah.
But they're out there. Or, like, they take steps where you know what they want you to do, but first you have to talk to so-and-so to trigger the thing that gets somebody into a place that then you can talk to them about the thing. Yeah.
You have to have someone tell you that you're able to do the thing.
Yes. Yeah. That's always my biggest problem in adventure games, too, is that I'm bad at talking to people, because video games mimic real life. And, no, but, like, I always forget to talk to people, is the thing.
There's also, I don't remember which game it was, but some of them, they have the ham speak.
Yes, that's one of the ones.
Yeah, and so there's times where you're
like...
You're
going to have to clarify.
Hamsters have their own slang.
Yeah.
And you have to learn it all.
Yeah, and if you don't know the word, you can't use it. And so there'll just be these blank spots in their conversation. And, like, you can kind of, to a certain extent, once you open an area, there will be, like, quests that are in that area that you, like, can recognize exist, but you can't do anything with. And so you have to, like, wander around and figure out what you are even capable of doing at the current time.
Yeah.
Isn't Hamtaro a hamster?
Yes.
Why does Hamtaro not know the hamster language?
And that he doesn't know it at the beginning of every new game.
Yeah. Just keeps forgetting it.
What is this, Phoenix Wright?
Speaking of which.
Excuse me, I'm a new hamster in town. What's yeet?
Oh no. I don't have time for this.
Yeah. But another game I've been playing a lot is PC Building Simulator. I know nothing about computers.
What?
I want to make that perfectly clear. I know nothing about computers. I just like games where I can just sit there and kind of put things together. Like, I'm putting together some kind of thing that's, like, physically in front of me. Like, some kind of, I don't know.
PC?
No,
Personal
not
computer?
a PC. Like, putting together a kind of a puzzle. Kind of, but not really. Because that's also why I kind of like House Flipper. Because it's the same kind of thing where I know nothing about what's happening, but I'm kind of mindlessly doing something. But I know nothing about computers. So it gets a little confusing sometimes. But it's fun.
You just drag parts together?
Yeah. Put parts in here. This is good. This is good. Awesome.
I was looking at Clock Simulator earlier.
Oh, yeah. Cam and I just saw that on the eShop, and we were just like, huh.
Yeah.
There's a lot more pictures on here than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
You thought it was just going to be a clock?
Oh, yeah.
But, and also, if it's
So
Clock
much.
Simulator, are you the clock?
Oh, no.
Would it just be looking out? You see things happening?
You just see a hand go by every once.
Yeah.
Like a large hand go by once in a while, and then another red one that just goes, there's a pig. What is this? I need to actually watch this.
It's also
Cool
currently,
to play.
as of recording this, it is on sale for $1.35.
Yep.
Buy a clock.
The Nintendo Switch has a clock in it.
Yeah, it does. It sure does.
Well,
You know what else has a clock in it? My phone.
You know
But
what else
all
has a
those
clock in
things
it?
are-
My
My
watch.
watch. my computer has one.
but all
Literally
of those things
anything.
are more expensive than $1.35.
Not-
Jeddy has a point.
Not if you find the right watch at Five Below.
What is this?
Clock Simulator.
It's a competitive clock game.
Competitive.
What? Don't lie to me like this.
There it says on here in the thing, it says 2 competitive multiplayer modes
What?
exclusively on Nintendo Switch, which means this is available on other platforms.
What do you compete for? Who tells time the best?
Yes. It seems like the main mechanic is like pressing a button every second, and it's a clock-based rhythm game. But instead of like Rhythm Heaven where there's like different rhythms and beats, it's just press the button every
Hey,
second.
Joe.
Yes?
I found a game for us to play whenever you get to Ohio.
Yes, we're not going to play Mario Maker 2, even
No.
though we'll be some of the only people who have the ability to do local co-op. We're going to play this clock game.
We're gonna play the clock game.
Oh, it's on Steam also. Is it on sale there?
Oh no. How much is it on Steam?
99 cents.
Oh,
wow.
my God.
Oh, that's better than
You're-
$1.35.
Get it on
Oh.
The
Steam.
extra
Hey,
35
guys.
cents is for the multiplayer mode.
Get this on Steam.
No friends, only random.
Thing is, that's its final price on Steam. That's not even a sale price.
Oh my gosh.
And I have
John,
91 cents in my account.
Dang it.
John,
Yes.
what games have you been playing in recent times?
Oh, good lordy be.
I've never heard of that video game. Tell us more
Tell
about
us
it.
about this.
That is a phrase, not a game, unfortunately.
An idiomatic expression?
I splurged and I got the premium edition of Mortal Kombat 11 when it came out.
Yes, Mortal 2 Combat.
It's a stylization, shush. And it is.
I've made that joke probably more than 11 times.
But yeah, no, it's super fun. Story mode is convoluted, over the top, and I wouldn't have it any other way. The voice acting is great, except for Ronda Rousey, who is voice acting Sonya Blade in this one, and you can tell she's not a voice actor, unfortunately. What else?
Weird. I mean, like, I get it, but
Yeah,
weird.
I don't know.
I've heard bad things about, and I always hear about this stuff through the grapevine, so this isn't like my opinion, but I've heard bad things about like the monetization stuff
It's
in
the
it.
the grind. The grind itself. It's not pay to win, because the only thing you pay for is like this one currency that you can only spend on on either DLC or like in-game items like skins and not fatalities, character intros and whatnot, which is not essential to the gameplay. Thank God.
Can't you use it in like the single player mode though?
No.
I could have sworn there was something where it was like there was a bunch of single-use items that you could earn. And it makes the grind really slow or something.
Okay, yeah, so that's a totally separate thing, but you don't pay real money for those.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you could pay real money to make it faster.
Not technically you can, but it's like you can buy these skins or whatnot, but like they change every 24 hours. So, and they change randomly. So the problem with this, with MK11, like, gameplay is great, story is great, online is great. The problem is the grind, and to unlock everything. Thing is, though, you have unlike Injustice 2, which is NetherRealm's previous game, in a Mortal Kombat 11, you have all the special moves available to you at the beginning. So, gameplay-wise, you have everything available to you. Everything else that you have to grind for is cosmetics.
I see. But it is still a $60 game, isn't it?
It is still a $60 game, and it should not take you at least 5 years to unlock to 100% the game. Yeah. Which, at the pace that this is going, it's everything you unlock is so random. It's so time-based. It is so tedious to unlock everything. It's insane. It'll take you. Yeah, it'll take you so.
That's what I've heard. But I guess I'm glad that the other parts of the game are good.
And yeah, no, it really is. And it wouldn't be so bad as if you had a choice to just unlock the stuff for the characters you play as the most. Because, like, I can grind on a tower for, like, maybe 2 hours, and I would get stuff.
All right, you're going to need to specify what grinding on a tower means. That's completely lost on me.
So, Mortal Kombat has this gimmick of where instead of levels, it has character towers. So, like, say, if you select Towers of Time mode, and then you go, like, here's a tower based on Scorpion, here's a tower based on that, and you click on the tower, you start at the bottom, and you fight these characters in this kinds of modes with these kinds of specifications to get to the top of the tower, which is the final boss, Scorpion, and then you get Scorpion items.
I see.
So the thing is, these towers are also time based, so they would go away after, say, 24 hours or 2 hours, depending on when you would log in and whatnot. And there's only 5 or 6 available to you at a time. And considering how each character has, like, I would say, like, maybe 30 different skins you can unlock for them. And, like, skins, I mean, like, color cosmetics and other stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want, like, one specific one, you're like, oh, I want that. Oh, that's going to be really cool. You have to, like, wait to see when it's available for you to get.
Nice.
So it's like, oh, yes, there's a Scorpion tower available, but the certain skin I want for Scorpion is not available. This is some ugly looking purple one. I want that cool looking white one, and that cool looking white one won't be available for Lord knows how long.
Who's your main?
I'm trying to get good with Aaron Black, the Western character that was introduced in Mortal Kombat X, and
I see.
He's very cool, but he's also very technical than he was in the last game. So I may switch over to Kung Lao or Liu Kang or Scorpion.
And can we expect you to see you at EVO this year?
Hell no. I will get destroyed before I even enter the building.
Rizzi walks in, it's just like dead.
Just get.
It is going to be at EVO though, right?
Oh yeah.
Mortal Kombat 11?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's been at a bunch. It just wrapped up. It was at a Combo Breaker this whole week.
Okay.
And again, they had like live streams going on, and I was watching the tournament, and I'm like, I cannot do any of this stuff in a million years. Just watching how fast they move their hands across the controllers. Some of them had their own custom controllers. I'm like, I'm not forking over another $200 for a custom controller. What is this?
Oh yeah, like the weird arcade ones where it's like a table.
Yeah, for real. I've been playing Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney HD Trilogy was released on PS4, so I've been playing that.
Hey.
But it looks good. We talked about this game a lot. But I've also been playing...
Do we? Huh.
I've also been playing Ace Attorney Investigations 2 via an emulator, the fan translation.
I was about to say, wasn't that the one that wasn't localized?
Yeah, I was playing the fan translation via an emulator.
Nice.
I mean, unofficially. And
the same police, the second layer of cardboard walls falls down. There's even more police cars. It was actually a sting to get John this whole time.
The other one was a ruse.
Woo!
See, Anna actually told that whole story so we could get John.
And let me just say this game is hard. And for an Ace Attorney game, it is hard. You have to like really think outside the box on this one. And I'm not sure if it's due to the translation or if that's just how it is in Japan. I don't know, just to get by it. I was like, I haven't hit the game over screen yet.
Oh, that's good.
But I will spend at least like 20 minutes trying to figure out like what exactly the game is leading on about. But yeah, Joe, what have you been playing?
I played a little bit, I got back into Tekkit, which is a Minecraft mod pack, old Tekkit, because I'm an old man. This is Tekkit from back in my day. Classic, it's called Tekkit Classic in the launcher that I have, and it's so old that it's like basically runs on an older version of Minecraft too. But it's fun, it's one of those things, because the thing about Minecraft mod packs is that you have to do all this research to figure out what even the progression tree is like. And it's just that the Tekkit one is one that I'm already familiar with, so I already know what to do without spending all of my time on a wiki page.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep coming back to that one. And I've dabbled with Tetris 99. Last night, I started a stream of playing Pokemon Fire Red with a randomizer. And the thing that I got through Brock. I have a Larvitar was my starter, and I have a Cacnea, a Doduo, a Pichu, a Cleffa, and a Beedrill. So a Pokemon randomizer, if you don't know, is basically it changes all of the Pokemon in the game to just random Pokemon. And so like Brock, for example, we set it so that all the gym leaders would have a type, but it would be a randomly selected one. So Brock was a fire type gym leader with a Charmander and a Macargo, who wrecked me twice. Because Macargo is a very difficult Pokemon to defeat, especially when none of your Pokemon know super effective against fire moves. But it was a lot of fun. So one of the things that I want to do with this, though, that I think will be a lot of fun is every time I beat a gym, we're going to add another rule onto it, another restriction. So I'm coming up with a couple that people will vote on before the next time. And then I'll probably speedrun Mario Odyssey again. Right now, my record is 1 hour and 36 minutes, which is pretty good, in my opinion. So maybe if I can get under 1 hour 30 next time. We'll see. Part of it when the next stream happens will depend on how long it takes me to edit this podcast.
Can we also expect you to live stream Pokemon Sleep when that comes out?
I don't have a camera, which I feel like you might need to do. You might need to do that, but we'll see. I don't even know when Pokemon Sleep's not coming out until 2020, I don't think. So I don't have to worry about that for a while.
You have to sleep on it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
But
Hey.
How do you turn...
Anna, you also need to say A.
Hey.
There we go.
Sorry.
You're contractually obligated.
How do you turn off the switch?
You don't.
Break it.
Wait, what? What is your question, Jeddy?
Other than sleep mode, because it says you're not supposed to insert an SD card without having it turned off. And I know that I've done this before.
You let it run out of battery.
You kill it.
Hold on. Can't you just hold the power button?
Is that...
Yeah, you hold the power button.
Wait, nope.
You go down to power options, and you go to turn off.
Oh, weird. That doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean that doesn't make any sense?
Why would it be under power options? Just give me the turn off option.
Turning off is one of the power options. Off is an option.
Is it? I thought it was an action. Turn off. It is an
option for the state of power of the Switch. Off. Then you can have mostly off, kind of off, asleep, and on.
I'm trying to get you guys pictures of Blaster Master 02.
By turning off the Switch?
Well, yeah, I have to put in that SD card.
I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of pieces of technology where like just tapping the power button puts it to sleep. But holding the power button will make it turn off. That's what you have to do with my iPhone.
Yeah. No, I tried that, and I guess I got confused because it was under power options, and, I looked
You didn't think to click the power options button?
Well, I had spent all of, 13 seconds looking through this before asking you guys, so... I needed to
Should have
ask
been
the
obvious,
youngsters.
Jeddy.
I need to ask the youngsters. Sorry, that was all.
And with that, I think it's time to wrap up this edition of the GameCola Podcast. Thank you for listening to this edition of the GameCola Podcast. You should be on the lookout for coming up. Of course, Danganronpa on the GameCola YouTube channel, GCDotNet, the letter G, the letter C, the word dot, the word net. John, you and James sort of unofficially announced, quote unquote, that you're planning on playing more of the games after you finish this first one, right?
Yes, actually. We finished recording up the first game completely to credits, and we've recorded a few episodes of the second game already.
Cool.
Yeah. Hype.
But be on the lookout for that. So every new episode's every Friday, I think?
Yes.
On the YouTube channel. This podcast is also posted to the YouTube channel. If you're not listening to it there, you could do that.
I also need to catch up on writing articles about each video. I'm kind of behind on that.
You can also keep an eye on the podcast feed for Hacks and Slash. We've talked about it a bit. But yeah, we've got a new episode of Hacks and Slash that I'm finishing editing up for the next Monday slot. Not like the, where Secret of Mana has been going for the past few months. And by past few months, I mean more than a year.
Yes,
in that slot.
It feels like yes.
The Secret of Mana podcast, being that we're about halfway through, we're taking a hiatus for a few months.
It'll be season 2.
Yes.
After we get back. But yeah, so we're doing at least 4, I think. I think we're going to end up doing 4 or 5 episodes of Hacks and Slash in the meantime. This first one is hosted by me. The next one will be hosted by Diana. Then the third one will be hosted by Anna. And then the next 2 after that are going to be special surprises that I think everybody's going to enjoy. So be sure to subscribe to the podcast on the iTunes feed or whatever other way you can access the RSS feed. Do you know that? And hey, if you're going to iTunes, you could leave us a review and rate us 5 stars. It really helps us out. It puts us up. It makes us suggested to more people when they pull up the podcast app and they look for related podcasts. It makes us pop up more. And that would be neat, wouldn't it? Don't you think that would be neat, guys?
Yeah. And tell people on Twitter about GameCola.
Mm-hmm. You can do so using the hashtag the GCPC. Stop laughing!
I told myself, don't laugh.
I laugh because Jeddy laughed.
What is so funny about it? Tell me what's so funny about the very good hashtag, the GCPC. What's funny about the podcast hashtag, Jeddy? Tell me.
The GCPC?
Yeah.
It's got a...
Tell me!
It's got a humorous rhythm to it.
Yes, it has a good cadence.
You approved it. We talked about this. You approved it.
Our new editor-in-chief is going to be Dr. Seuss. I appreciate the rhyming. It also sounds like...
it's not rhyming, it's the same letter.
The GameCola personal computer.
If you can also check us out on our actual internet website, GameCola.net, for articles. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for GameCola. If you want to email us on the podcast, you can send us questions to podcast@GameCola.net, and we'll read them on the podcast. You can also send us messages on the Discord that you can find an invite link to our Discord on the where the podcast is posted, or on the Twitter.
It's not on the Twitter. I checked today.
Oh, it's not? You said it was on the Twitter.
I thought it was. Nobody added it, and I don't have access to the actual account.
Well, we need to find the password for that, because I've just been going through TweetDeck. Yeah. We'll figure that out. We'll put a link somewhere so that you can get on the Discord. It's a fun time. The Discord has been popping off recently, and I've been enjoying it.
It's fun talking about random things like the Tinkerbell movie out of nowhere.
Come join us on the GameCola Discord.
I have many opinions, Anna, okay?
It was just very random.
What was it that I posted? Oh, that's right, the gamer gummies.
Yes.
You can learn about gamer gummies on the Discord. And actually, we'll let you get to it. So thank you again for listening to this episode 132 of the GameCola Podcast. Have a wonderful time of day, wherever it is, whenever it is you're listening to this, and we'll see you next month. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Now we have to mark this as having explicit content.
Oh,
there was one naughty word in the podcast.
No,
there are a few.
John has said many naughty words.
I'm sorry.
Which is usually on me, so it's not me this time. I've been getting better at that.
I can't help it. I'm from Philadelphia.